back with the draft preview episode. This time for the offensive players. Maybe this season we'll actually get to the defensive players. Maybe. Anyways, just taking a look at the stats and stuff for the season. That's what we're going to do first. Then we'll dive into the top prospects. Nationally leading college football in completion percentage was DJ Lagway with a shocking 73% completion. This guy's a beast. He's going to be one of the best, if not the best, in the NFL very quickly. Passing yards was national champion Jaden Mayava, probably because he played in 17 games. Then it was Aaron Nolan from Tennessee, who is an absolute freak. I mean, this dude goes from back up at Ohio, like the five-star recruit, super highly rated, back up at Ohio State, a little unlucky, gets buried on the depth chart. I believe he was, fourth? Yeah, fourth or fifth on the chart at Ohio State in 2024. Then in 2025, he was the clear-cut backup behind Lenoris Sellers at South Carolina. Goes to Tennessee and absolutely explodes this season. Very happy for him. Passing touchdowns was Julian Sayin, who put up a 50 bomb. He will be returning for his senior season, and it might not be with Ohio State. The Buckeyes have been extremely disappointing the past 2 years, despite the fact that both Sayin and Jeremiah Smith have been balling out. The team's defense has struggled, and they have not been able to run the ball well at all. Jack Loesch from Purdue was intercepted the most times. Loesch was picked off 18 times. Oh, that's Krummenhoek. Loesch was picked off 23 times. That's 5 more than anybody else in the country. He was a backup at Northwestern last season, and this season things did not go well for him. Passing the ball, touchdown to interception ratio was Austin Mack, who played in 6 games for Boise State. As you can see, you got the highest qualified player was Ryan Rivers, who was amazing for Texas Tech, or Texas State, that is. He came out of nowhere, 36 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 6 rushing. Hello, that might be a top pick in the making. Jaden Baugh. What's up, Hollywood? I am posted in 2 weeks. I mean, if you don't count my live streams, I haven't posted in like a month. Some other guys here that are going to get drafted. Baugh is going to be the top running back. We'll talk about that in a second. Jeremiah Smith wins the Heisman. London Humphreys, Isaiah Horton, and others were here as well. All great players. Blocking. The most snaps played was Henry Douglas from SMU with 1,331. A lot of SMU players, a lot of Florida players here. USC had some rotating guys, but they did play the most games. Defensively, we're going to have to go conference by conference. Wesley Williams led the nation with 19 and a half sacks. Edric Houston is going to be a top pick, though. D tackle with 19 sacks. Hello. Williams will also be going within the top 10. Elo Madozie from Georgia got 16 sacks. He's returning for his senior season, as is Aaron Childs from Florida. Cameron James is going to be a top pick, as he had a great season, as is CJ Fite. But we're going to talk about offensively. The top prospects for the 2027 NFL Draft. Because, oh my, there are some great ones. Especially at the quarterback position. I believe we have 9 starting caliber quarterbacks going into this year's draft. Much stronger than last year's draft. I think we have 6 or 7 who would have gone ahead of Carson Beck, who is the number 1 quarterback in last year's class. I had him as the 10th best player in last year's class, Carson Beck. There's going to be several quarterbacks in the top 10 this year. And number 1 on the list is going to be DJ Lagway from Florida. None other than Lagway, who started for 2.5 seasons with the Gators, former 5-star recruit. He was generated in the lab, 6'3", 243, maxing out all of his attributes, 99 throw power. This is an absolute freak at the quarterback position. You take a look at the stats from Lagway the past few seasons, 38-5, 33-8 the year before. Yeah, this guy has over a 10,000 career passing yards on his career. That's insane. Then at number 2, going off the board after that, again, probably within the top 5 picks, is going to be none other. Where is he? Then Arch Manning. Arch Manning is going to be the second QB taken off the board. He's been very good with Texas, super efficient, hasn't really been the focus of the offense, but he has been the reason they win games. Obviously, again, the team around him, a little disappointing. Arch Manning never made the playoffs, never started a playoff game. That hurts his draft stock because you got other guys, Jaden Maiava, DJ Lagway, Gunnar Stockton, Jackson Arnold. Then after that, at number 3, sorry about the pause. At number 3 on this list is going to be the reigning national champion QB, Jaden Maiava. 47 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 5,000 career yards or on yards on the season for Maiava. Then the year before that was equally good, 36-9. I had a great freshman year at UNLV. Nobody really talks about it. And then the sophomore campaign at USC was where we really saw some accuracy issues. He's clearly over that, and he's going to be a top QB. 6'4", 226, might even be a better prospect than Tua was, making him the greatest Hawaiian NFL prospect of all time. The thing is, he's just older than Tua. Like, he's going to be old going into the NFL, like some of these other guys. He's a lot older than Lagway, a lot older than Manning, older than Sellers, older than Arnold, Nico, Levitt. He's one of the older prospects here, but he's very good. He's going to be one of the top guys right out the gate. LaNorris Sellers is next, and it was almost a down year for Sellers. 17-6, 30 touchdowns, 7 picks. The year before was much better to 17-6, but he was better on the ground, like night and day from last year. Weird year for Sellers. I feel like if he had gone for like the draft last year, he would have been the number 1 guy off the board at quarterback. This year, he's fallen down the list just a little bit. I mean, this is like he had 2 years in a row where where South Carolina was arguably the first team out of the playoffs. Last year, he made it in, and yeah, I guess he was just disappointing. Wasn't a great year for Sellers, but it wasn't bad. Like, he's still going to be a first-round pick. Then you got Gunnar Stockton, who past 2 years elite, 47-7, and then 41-6. It does not get much better than that. I mean, he kind of got carried at Georgia. Definitely boosted his stats that he had such a good O line and such good pass catchers. and a good run game to support him. Like, amazing supporting cast over there, but he was the center, front and center stage. Like, Gunnar Stockton was everything the Bulldogs needed him to be for 2 years, literally putting up, I think, better than Carson Beck and better than Stetson Bennett. And I'm looking at the wrong player, but still, better than Carson Beck, better than Stetson Bennett level numbers at Georgia, which is just insane. Then you got Jackson Arnold, the big trader, goes from Oklahoma to Auburn, but the big thing, he goes from Auburn to Alabama and then beats Auburn at Alabama. 57 total touchdowns. Hello. Again, he's a little bit older, um, but he's still on the younger side. Like he's some of these sixth-year seniors. He's not there. He's just a fourth-year guy over at Oklahoma. Maybe fifth year? I might be thinking wrong. No, he's fourth. Yeah, fourth-year guy out of Alabama, transfer portal MVP. Then you got Nico Iamaleava. Similar to Sellers, would have been a top pick if he had a better year this year. Was not bad at all. There were some parts of his game that he really improved this season. He did get injured and missed like 2 games, but still 20 tubs, seven, threw more interceptions, but was much more accurate and was still good on the ground. I mean, he's great. He's a great NFL prospect. I mean, I don't think we saw his full potential yet in college, but great NFL prospect. After that, you got Sam Levitt from Arizona State. We've seen 3 straight years of just really, really consistent and above average play for Levitt. Down year this year. This year was had some accuracy issues, and I think that was due to the fact that he didn't have Jordan Tyson, didn't have Cam Scatterbo, just wasn't a great team around him aside from running back Kanye Yado, who we're going to talk about. This was where he really 2025, I think, was where Levitt should have entered the draft because that's where his stock was highest. That was a weaker quarterback class. I think he hurt himself by returning to college football. I think at this point, the right decision for Levitt would be to come back for another season, but I think the roster around him is going to be really bad. He'd have to enter the transfer portal. I don't think he's prepared to do that. So he's going to be in the draft. Levitt, I'd say his best year was 2025, and then after that, probably 2024, and then after that, 2026. So again, wasn't a great year for Levitt, but was not at all bad. It made a lot of his resources, upset a number 2 ranked team on the road. Um, but then, I mean, still, it's a very strong quarterback class where guys like Fernando Mendoza, 6'5", 227, 41 touchdowns, 47 total at Indiana last year are all the way down here. And that's crazy because Mendoza, he's an elite prospect. I mean, you look at this guy, he's got the size of Will Levis. And if he was in Will Levis's class, he would have been the number 2 pick or the number 3 pick. He's massive. But just this is such a good quarterback class. He's going to probably be in the mid rounds. Um, and whoever gets him is probably going to be really lucky because he's got tons of experience starting at both Cal and Indiana. He's played against some crazy good competition out of Miami, Florida. 61% completion could be better, but it's not bad. And then rounding out the top 10, you got Kevin Jennings, another guy who's played in the playoffs several times, 3 straight seasons starting. Even the year before that, when he didn't start, he played in a conference championship game and won for SMU. This is a juggernaut of a player. Jennings, he is not the best physical or quarterback physically. Like, you look at the physicals, you look at the size. This is not a top 10 QB in a generationally good QB class. But you look at the stats and you look at the mobility he has, the arm talent. He is a sneaky guy. He is a first in, last out type of player. And we saw that at SMU. He took over for Preston Stone, one of the highest rated recruits to ever come there. And then he balled. Absolutely balled out, kept his job, and led them to multiple playoff appearances. At number 11 is going to be Aiden Chiles from Michigan State. Chiles finally had a healthy season with weapons at Michigan State. And with 36 touchdowns, 10 interceptions this year, he finally broke out. And that was without his best wide receiver. Christian McCray was hurt for all but 3 games. Childs did all this without his number one target that he had been building chemistry with over the past 2 years. I think he's going to be a great NFL QB if any team gives him a shot. Good physicals, good athleticism. The arm talent has improved a lot. He's gotten much more accurate. 66% completion. That was in the low 50s when he first came to Michigan State. Love to see the improvement. At number 12 is Noah Fifita. My goodness. Talk about awful physicals. 5'10", 188. This guy is going to get mashed in the NFL. But his accuracy and his football IQ might be the best in all of college football. His redshirt freshman year at Arizona broke out, was absolutely insane. Ted McMillan and company led him to a 10-win season, taking over for Jaden DeLara, who at the time was a possible NFL prospect, ended up going into the UFL. Then he had the reins for year 2, had Ted McMillan, was super disappointing. Last year was awful as well. That completion percentage, the accuracy, the touchdown interception ratio that he had from year 1 had gotten worse and worse every year. Then he goes to Clemson, year 5 of his career, year 4 as a starter, and he's just back. Like 32 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 6 on the ground, all career highs, 4,000 yards. Hello. Oh my God. Like, the stats are through the roof, but it's just the size that's a huge question mark. Not something that most teams are ready to look at and just stamp off. Number 13, 14, and 15 didn't really play this year because they were all transfers who decided to roll the dice, take a risk, go to some of the top teams in the country, but with loaded rooms where they just didn't win the battle and had to sit on the bench. But they're all great players. Like, these guys are still top caliber quarterbacks, able to go in the mid rounds. First one of those is Devin Dampier from Texas. Again, 5'11", 205. Not going to wow you with the size, but unlike Fifita, this dude can run. Dampier did not play much at all at Texas, but you look back to 2025 at Utah and 2024 at New Mexico, mainly 2025 at Utah. He was not a good passer whatsoever. This is a running back at New Mexico. Scored, actually, I think he led almost all of college football in rushing touchdowns that year. Last year at Utah, he was a great runner, but he really improved his passing game. 28 touchdowns to 10 interceptions, 66% completion percentage. He was rated as I believe he was rated as the top quarterback in the transfer portal this offseason. Decided to go to Texas, mainly because of the NIL, and didn't end up playing, obviously, because it's Arch Manning. But if Manning were to get injured, I'm sure Dampier would have balled out, and NFL teams know that. However, that does hurt his stock just a little bit. He would likely be higher than Fifita if he stayed at Utah and put up that again. I'm putting him ahead of Noah Fifita, maybe even Aiden Childs as well. Another case is Rocco Becht from Alabama. Becht had 3 straight seasons at Iowa State where he was a baller. Then he goes to Bama, and he loses the quarterback battle to Jackson Arnold. However, this guy is still a beast. And last year at Iowa State, 29 tubs, 7 interceptions. That was his best year. 65% completion was the highest of his career. He was balling. And then he goes to Alabama, sits for a year, and now he's entering the NFL draft. Same thing with Alonzo Barnett from South Carolina. Barnett had 2 straight very, very nice seasons with James Madison. Decided to enter the portal, went to South Carolina, but Lenora Sellers coming back from the draft. Was rated, as a top 12 quarterback in college football. But he was a bench player. He is a James Madison Duke. But the touchdown to interception ratio with him is crazy. The mobility, and I mean, the size is not great. 6 foot, 208. Could be bigger. could be taller mainly, but he's still a great player. Still going to get drafted, go to somebody. And then after that, you got guys like Caden Veldkamp from Louisville, Anthony Calandria from UNLV, who's been super consistent, played in the playoffs, absolutely revived his career since leaving the Tony Elliott-led Virginia Cavaliers. Then Ty Simpson, forgot about him, right? At Alabama was the third string last year. But in 2025, this guy threw for 29 touchdowns. Did turn the ball over quite a bit, though. Connor Wigman was great at Ohio State. 8 touchdowns, 0 picks. That boosted his draft stock despite him being a backup because he had a bad year at Houston, and overall his run at Texas A&M wasn't that great either. Josh Hoover from TCU, super consistent. Devin Brown at Buffalo. I mean, at Buffalo and Cal, this guy revived his career. He was a no name. I mean, he was a named backup. Like everybody knew he was the next guy up at Ohio State until Julian Sayin comes in. Um, like he was the next guy up behind C.J. Stroud. Nope, that wasn't the case. They went on over to Kyle McCord for a year. He was the next guy up after Kyle McCord. Nope, that wasn't the case. They went to Will Howard, then they went to Julian Sayin. He got left for the side of the road and still put up great stats at 2 smaller schools. Good for him. I think he finds himself on a practice squad. Jalen Rayner from Georgia, similar case to these other guys. Put up good stats at Arkansas State, then went to Georgia. To boost that draft stock as a backup behind Gunnar Stockton. And then if Stockton got hurt, he would have balled out, I'm sure. But I mean, another Rayner is just he's not Alonzo Barnett. He's not Devin Dampier. I don't know. I think it still was a good move for him to go to Georgia, but also like he's not an NFL quarterback. Then Nico Marichal, Katin Hauser, Goose Crowder, Owen McCown, Taven Jackson, J.C. French, Preston Stone, and Brendan Sorsby round out the list. Running backs. Moving on to the RBs. Number 1, without a doubt, is Jaden Baugh from Florida. The junior is 100% leaving for the draft. There's no way to convince him otherwise because he's had 60, yes, 60 rushing touchdowns over the past 2 years. Jaden Baugh, arguably, in my opinion, has as much of a case for the Heisman Trophy this season as Jeremiah Smith does. Now that's different now than it was at the time of the ceremony because Baugh got to play through all of the playoffs, went to the national championship. Smith did not, but Jaden Baugh is an elite running back prospect. I'm convinced he is a better running back prospect than Mekhi Hughes, the Heisman winner from last year, was, and maybe even than Ashton Jeanty was. I think Jaden Baugh is a better running back prospect than both Hughes and Jeanty, and maybe even, and Bijan Robinson. I think this is the best running back prospect since Saquon Barkley. And I'm willing to say that right now. After that, you got Ahmad Hardy from UNC, transfer portal MVP. Was very good at Mizzou the year before that. Isaac Brown from Louisville. Look at that. The top 3 rushers. I didn't even know that they were up here, but obviously because their teams are force feeding them because they're so good. Isaac Brown had 3 great years at Louisville. Actually, that middle year was kind of funky, but still, he was insane. Dante Dowdell from Ole Miss, another transfer portal MVP, 4 schools in 4 or 5 seasons. Yeah, he's a dog. He's here. Nate Frazier from Georgia is great. He had 3 very nice seasons with the Dogs as probably their main running back. Justice Haynes from Michigan got injured towards the end of the year, but still put up 1,000 yards, still put up 8 touchdowns, 6 per carry. How about the redshirt freshman Jordan Davidson at Oregon? I didn't even notice that, how he just balled it out. Good God. Then after that, you've got Seth McGowan from Kentucky. Yeah. They lose Dante Dowdell no matter because this was their main back all along. Seth McGowan got way better this year. Receiving and rushing, ran for 1,300 yards, had 19 total yard touchdowns from scrimmage. That's insane. After that's Kanye Udo, the former Army man, is going to get drafted in the first few rounds. Had back-to-back just absolutely bonkers seasons at Arizona State. Last year, he was actually better than this year. Damian Taylor from Duke is here. Came over from Ole Miss in the transfer portal from Duke and became an absolute beast. 19 scores, like was even better at Duke than he was at Ole Miss. 24 rushing scores is crazy, but you can just tell he was much more efficient, broke more tackles, had better yards, better yards after contact, just way better yards per carry. Because he was the main part of that offense at Duke, who for the second year in a row went 12 and 0 in the regular season. Or no, went like a combined 23 and 1 the past 2 years in the regular season. At number 10, it's our guy, Fluff Bothwell. We saw him get injured for the final few games, but we know he is young and he is physical. He's a great running back, even though he was in the mix with a lot of other guys. Wasn't that clear-cut number one bell cow on our team like maybe he would have been if he stayed at Mississippi State or even at South Alabama before that. But yeah, he's going to be a top running back, top 10, and I could easily see him being very good in the NFL. Then you got Jalen Buckley, the number 2 back from Michigan. He is a beast. 21 rushing scores for Buckley. Yeah, that's pretty freaking good. Transferring over from Western Michigan, where he had 3 straight very nice years there. Then it's Quentin Joyner from Texas Tech, Javian Thomas from UCLA, Caden Durham from LSU, Isaiah Augustave from South Carolina, Terrion Stewart from Virginia Tech, Aiden Lowry from Iowa State, white guy, he was very good. Emmett Johnson from Nebraska. James Peoples from Ohio State, George Pettaway from Ohio State, who falls down quite a bit because he was a Heisman finalist last year with James Madison. And then guys like Caleb Jackson from Georgia Tech, Ruben Owens from Boise State, Freddie Brock from West Virginia, Waymon Jordan from USC, had a ton of rushing scores, Branson Robinson from Georgia State, Cedric Alexander from Texas A&M, Lee Beebe from Indiana, Carson Hansen from Oklahoma, Richard Young from Alabama, and Mark Fletcher from Kentucky round out the top 30. At wide receiver, you've got the top 2 are pretty obvious. They could have basically done anything this year and still been the top 2. It's going to be Jeremiah Smith, who's going to be the number 1 overall pick, as well as, where's he at? I know he had a down year this year. Ryan Williams, down year, still had 1,000 yards. Ryan Williams was way better last season, but he was still great, and he's still going to be a top pick. He's so young. He's still just 19 years old. He's turning 20. Yeah, he'll be 20 at the time of getting drafted, which is just outrageous. Then you got Jeremiah Smith. I want to look at his stats because he's a beast. This guy's got over 4,000 career receiving yards. Might be pushing 5K. Yeah, he is like right at that 5,000 mark for his career. Absolutely insane. Had his best year yet in year 3, won the Heisman, and was just the most popular player in college football, maybe history, year 3. Then you got Isaiah Horton from Alabama, balled out. Oh my goodness. Was the number 1 wide receiver on that team over Ryan Williams. And physically, he's a better prospect. 6'4", 210. Obviously, he's not going to jump Williams because he's a lot older and just doesn't have as much athletic upside. But back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons for him, 32 receiving scores. He's had more yards, more touchdowns over the past 2 years than Ryan Williams. That's crazy. Then you got Makai Lemon from USC. He would have been one of the top guys off the board if he went last year. This year he stays, and he's still an absolute freak. 1,500 yards, 10 touchdowns, gets the national championship. I mean, he's not a Drake London size type guy. He's much more of a route runner. Beats you with the athleticism, not his size. He's a different prospect than Drake London, but he is probably just as good and will be drafted very highly. Number 5 is Cam Coleman from Clemson. Past 2 years, last year with Auburn, this year with Clemson, he's been great. Just an absolute freak. Didn't get in the end zone as much. They kind of used him differently. They threw to him the same amount, got more yards, less touchdowns. 6'3", 197, super athletic. I mean, he could be a Jeremiah Smith level guy with that profile. But I think he's like just a step down. I think if there are teams, if you're looking for a big wide receiver, and you don't get Jeremiah Smith, Isaiah Horton, Cam Coleman, and Jaden Gibson, and Chris Brazzell are all going to be in that very same spot. Then you got another guy down here I'm going to talk about as well. Either way, at number 6 and 7, 6, 7, are going to be the two Tennessee guys. Jaden Gibson, who had 1,600 yards, 12 touchdowns, 6'5". Yeah, he's an absolute freak. Absolute beast. Came over from Oklahoma and just revived his career, was insane. And then Chris Brazzell, the guy who came over from Tulane. In his third year with Tennessee was amazing. All 3 seasons. Had his best year yet, though, last season. He'll be drafted very highly. London Humphreys, who led the SEC in receiving yards. He was the #1 receiver on Georgia. We know his freshman year he spent at Vanderbilt. But then just didn't put up any production for the next 2 years. Then year 4 finally breaks out and becomes better than Ladd McConkey ever was. So, yeah, he's a beast. Absolute dog. Rounding out, then you got 2 more guys I'm going to talk about that are really big and really athletic. And then I'm going to end the episode a little bit early. We'll resume this in a second. First up is Kyler Casper from Oregon. Exactly 6'6", 212. He is massive. Didn't do anything at the college football level until this season. 1,200 yards, 14 tubs. Yeah, he's massive. He's absolutely massive. And he's a great receiver. After that, talk about massive and being athletic is the absolute freak that is Nick Harbor. I don't care that Nick Harbor never had a 1,000-yard season or that he never was the true wide receiver 1 and that he's only at 84 overall, like doesn't have great hands. He's 6'5", 236 and has 99 speed. He is the fastest wide receiver in the class, yet he's also the biggest and heaviest. That has never happened before. We have never seen a wide receiver like this. The problem is that the 9 guys ahead of him are either almost as big or almost as fast, and all of them have had much, much better college tape than Nick Harbor. He's still got breakaway speed, but the concern is just, that he never had that breakout season, even with LaNorris Sellers as his QB. He's still going to be a top pick because he is still an elite NFL prospect. After that, it's Brandon Inniss from Ohio State and TJ Moore from Clemson. Both those guys were never wide receiver 1s on their team in just stacked receiver rooms. Inniss especially, like the dude was forgotten until last year or this year when he was the #2 guy behind Jeremiah Smith, balled out. If he was wide receiver 1 on his team, he'd be going crazy. He's like the T. Higgins of college football. Then you got TJ Moore from Clemson. Obviously, they brought in Cam Coleman and a ton of other guys, which kind of was weird for the Clemson wide receiver room because they have so many guys getting drafted, but not all of them put up crazy stats last year, like Wesco. Moore is here, 12 touchdowns still. Yeah, he's a dog. He's an absolute beast. 3 straight seasons of falling out. DeAndre Moore from USC is next. He just had a crazy year, national champion, 16 touchdowns, transferring over from Texas, and he finally breaks out, has that crazy year we were all expecting. Samaj Morgan from Michigan. I know everyone loves to meme him because he's always on these winning teams and he doesn't do much, but this year he did a lot. He was one of the best receivers in college football, 20 receiving scores, 1,300 yards. He's only 5'10", 175, but he's super fast, super athletic. Had 20 touchdowns last year to his one the year before. Samaj Morgan, absolute freak. And then our guy, KC Concepcion, is here at the number 15 spot. He likely will be taken in the later rounds, but he had 4 straight great seasons. His worst year being his sophomore year with NC State, but year 3, year 4, and year 1 were all great. NC State used him as like a gadget type player. He was our true, we didn't do that mainly because he was our clear cut 1,000,000% wide receiver one. Every second he was on the field, he was by far, head and shoulders, the best wide receiver on the team and had the biggest chance of getting the football. That's why we didn't really use him as a gadget much. We didn't like do a lot of end arounds, jet sweeps with him because he was just so lethal. Our receiver room has been so lackluster the past several seasons. He's the best one we've had come out of the program since Christian Kirk, which is crazy to think about, but it's true. Then after that, you got Jaden Greathouse from Notre Dame, Titus Mokiao Atimala, who actually had like 1,300 yards with USC. It was great. Ray Joseph from Alabama, Krishan McCray from Michigan State, who got hurt, but in just 3 games had like 300 yards. Ryan Wingo from Texas, Deuce Robinson, big boy from Florida State, 6'6", 224. He's like literally a better version of what's his name? Oh my goodness, I'm blanking. He literally just got drafted out of Florida State, like transferred from Michigan State to Florida State. Either way, he's on the build. It's like Coleman or something. Let me know in the chat. But you got him, Bryant Wesco from Clemson, Xavier Townsend from Iowa State, who just had a crazy year, Tyler Brown from Clemson, Victor Snow from Miami, 5'8", 167, but absolute dog in college. Isaiah Hunter, Caden Lee from Tennessee, another Tennessee guy. Tennessee and Clemson, just absolutely. Tennessee, Clemson, USC, and Alabama, just flooding these wide receivers spots. And then just down the list, some more great guys. Tight ends, Jack Endries is really the only guy you need to know here. He is going to be the number 1 tight end off the board by far from Texas. We probably won't have any first-round tight ends aside from Endries, but then you got Benjamin Brahmer from Iowa State, Jelani Thurman from Ohio State, Luke Haas from Washington, Brett Norfleet from Mizzou, Preston Howard from Auburn, Garrett Oakley from K-State, Donovan Green from Texas A&M, Jake Johnson from UNC, former Texas A&M guy, and Kamorian Pimpton from TCU, former LSU guy. We'll talk about offensive line later. I hope you guys enjoyed this little mini episode previewing some of the top players for our Madden series. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.